The Kanun was the traditional customary law of Albania and governed various aspects of her society for centuries. It is not practiced by law today. It was actually banned by Enver Hoxha due to the bad customs, but many good customs remain, and I think those are very important to learn about too. The bad parts should by no means be practiced today, as it has no place in a modern society. If you are Albanian, you might resonate with some of the good customs that still exist today, even if you've never read the Kanun or lived in Albania. For example, the saying "Buk e kryp e zemër," which means bread, salt, and the heart. This Albanian custom relates to how you receive guests. It reflects the core values of Albanian culture, such as honor and hospitality, which honestly I still see today, whether I'm visiting elderly Albanians or my young friends, because we will serve everything we have for our guests, even if what we have isn't much. If you want to read it in English and Albanian, I recommend this one. I got mine at the Dukagjini bookstore in Pristina, but perhaps it can be found online somewhere, so please leave a comment if you know where. This one was published by the Lekë family, who are the living representatives of our most noble and honorable traditions. This is the cover. And it was translated into English by Leonard Fox. As a result, on the left you have the original Albanian text, and on the right you have the English translation, which might make it much easier to understand it. Kanun is the common term today, but the old Albanian term is actually doke. Doket, in plural, meant a collection of laws which determine how one behaves with acquaintances and strangers. The Kanun has been practiced by all Albanians. Some practiced it more than others. This version includes a foreword by Martin Chomaj, who was a professor of Albanian studies at the University of Munich, as well as a renowned poet and novelist. And there's an introduction by Leonard Fox, the translator, and an original appendix from Gjeçovi, which demonstrates the actual application and real incidents, such as conversations between Lekë Dukagjini and another very famous Albanian you may know, Gjergj Kastrioti Skanderbeg. In case you didn't know, those two were actually close friends and allies, and both very avid supporters of the Kanun, which is why there's also another Kanun you may have seen, known as the Kanun of Skanderbeg. It's important to remember that neither Dukagjini or Skanderbeg invented the Kanun, they enforced it, and that's why Albanians would attribute the various rules to these great leaders, even centuries later. Although Dukagjini died in 1481, when Edith Durham visited Albania, which resulted in this book from 1909, she observed that whenever she asked Albanians why they believed what they did, they would simply reply, "Because Lekë said so. It is in the Kanun." So this is how deep it went. The Kanun of Lekë Dukagjini is the most well-known version, and it covers a wide range of subjects such as family, marriage, property, work, the rights of workers, honor, hospitality, punishments for crimes, judicial processes, among many other subjects. I'll include the contents in here. It's also divided into 12 books, but yeah. The Kanun has ancient roots dating back to the Bronze Age and has been influenced by pagan beliefs and Illyrian customs and laws as well. As Albanian traditional customs evolved, they underwent modifications, as in any society, and were enhanced with new principles to align with specific socio-economic development needs. The Kanun was passed down orally through generations like folk songs before the Kanun was eventually documented by Stefan Gjeçovi. The Kanun has been instrumental in safeguarding Albanian culture and identity, especially during Ottoman rule and other foreign invasions. Unfortunately, Gjeçovi's documentation of the Kanun only includes a portion of the customary laws, not all of them. However, it remains the most comprehensive collection to date. Let me just briefly add to that why Gjeçovi's work is so important. During the Ottoman rule, it was forbidden to read and write in Albanian, and there weren't any official Albanian schools. This is very clearly documented until 1887, and even that school was ordered to be closed down by Abdulhamid II in 1902. Stefan Gjeçovi, who was born in Kosova in 1874, was a highly intellectual and patriotic priest. He dedicated his life to teaching Albanians how to read and write in our native language and distributed books in Albanian, which was an illegal act at the time. He strongly opposed Turkish law and joined the mass uprising in 1912 to declare Albania's independence from Ottoman rule. However, following the independence, Gjeçovi faced even more trouble, because when Kosovo was separated from Albania and annexed to Yugoslavia, he became an obvious target for the Serbs and the local police, because they frequently harassed and threatened him. In 1929, he was summoned to appear before the sub-prefect in Prizren, where he was ambushed and killed. Gjeçovi had been working on the Kanun for years, which everybody knew at the time, but he did not live to complete it. So drawing from the material he had already published in various newspapers and also his personal notes, the Franciscan fathers collaborated to publish his work, which was then published in 1933, and that's why we don't have what we could have had preserved today. But the little we have can be enjoyed in any versions of his book, and this is also the full Albanian text. I will make more videos about the Kanun, what it was, what it meant, but I'm not sure where to start because there's a lot. So feel free to let me know what you want to learn, and I hope you learned something today.